Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. This time we're doing Dagobah's Minikits for the 4th time. Who knows how it's gonna go down this time? Because Audacity decides it doesn't want to record any longer than 4 minutes. And I don't know why, but it keeps stopping at just... Well, the first time was just after 5 minutes. The last 3 times it's been stopping just after 4 minutes. So where are we going to go this time? Let's see what happens. Our first mini kit is on top of this tree. Now there's no mini kit back here, but I'm going to go to the little island just over there. And weirdly, it always seems to show R2-D2 scope. Even though I'm playing as R2-Q5, I'm going to assume that it does the same thing with R4-P17. I mean, granted, this is the only level where you use the scope. So I guess they felt they didn't really need to make one for each individual... astromech, even the one that's new to the game. But yep, that's a thing. Or rather, it's not a thing. It just keeps the same scope, even for the black astromech droid. Right, for our mini kit, I don't get how this works. So you'd think that you'd have to use the force against the actual gate here, but rather, what you have to do is use the force on this small plant that's just behind the gate. Its explosion will then blow up the other 2 plants, because plants explode in the world of LEGO Star Wars. And when they explode, the gate, for no reason whatsoever, then pulls itself out of the ground, and then it blows up. I don't get it. This is where I turn on the fast build. Like so. Like so. And woo! I can build a tractor. And I'm guessing it doesn't matter how long you're on top of these little things for, that must turn them off. They probably go off after a while. It's the only reason I can think that the first one that was green a moment ago is going to turn red just as it appears on screen. There it goes. And that's how you get the power brick to appear. Now there is a little pathway that sends you down to the where the snake is, just over there. I forget that you can do that. So I took the long way. Meanwhile, R2-Q5 is just going to be stuck there against the wall. It's like the one time the AI character doesn't just randomly switch between characters. You know, we've seen all these rapid changes where you constantly hear the lightsaber sound really loudly, where the icon in the corner never changes. This is the one time they don't ever bother doing that, so it's just going to get stuck there until I go into the next area. Don't ask me why. He just doesn't move anywhere. Now he's here. So we now have to just get across here. There's nothing new here. But we can actually explore this little area now. I mean, you can explore this area in story mode. You can backtrack here. There's a little extra pathway that allows you to come back here. Or we can just do it immediately in free play mode. Because I always forget whereabouts it is that you can backtrack. And I always forget whereabouts it is. I think it's after you've completed the first section where you play as Luke by himself. Luke by himself, that made no sense. The first part where you no longer need Yoda. So that takes you a bit further into the level. You can go there in free play mode, but you know, this is free play mode. Why would you not go after everything else when you're playing in free play mode? It's kind of the point of the thing, isn't it? So instead, we're just going to complete more of the level. And I have to say, this is the furthest Audacity has gone in the last 4 attempts. But the first time round, I reached the 5-minute mark. So let's see what happens now. Why is every single piece of software I try to use got to go against me? Movie Maker corrupts videos at the last second. Hit Film decided it constantly crashes and decided it no longer wants to allow me to send stuff to YouTube at 60 FPS. I mean, that's probably more YouTube's compression thing, but I don't know how to export it in a way to stop it from doing that when I have to do it in Movie Maker first. Ay, ay, ay. The Hallpog software frequently crashes. Frequently. And you have to be a short character to get into Yoda's house. Not necessarily a character, not exactly a character that you need to get through all those vent things. Just a character that is proportionally shorter. It could be an astromech. It could be one of the short crawling characters. It could be Yoda himself. It'd be a bit weird if he couldn't. And for some reason, I mean, this is a double score zone, so there's lots of breakable objects, and that's great. But of all the places to have a dark side object, Yoda's house, of all the places, why is it Yoda's house has got a dark side object in here? And it's his TV. I mean, this one like a microwave, but it's his TV that requires that is a dark side object. Strong where the dark side television is. I mean, granted, that's probably true. And now this is a weird glitch. I go in here in order to progress to the next portion of the level, but nothing happens. And I'm like, well, I can't go up there because I'm going to skip a huge chunk of the level if I do. So I then try and see if I can do it again, and what do you know? It works. I'm pretty sure I didn't even go as far in as I did last time. I just hit an invisible wall that was further in last time than it was the second time. But it worked the second time. I have no idea what happened there. Just some sort of weird glitch. Thankfully, I was still able to proceed a little bit later. It wasn't a permanent glitch. I mean, Dagobah's a level that you can do a lot faster with free play mode. I mean, again, there is that section that you can skip. But the only time that would ever be useful would be in Super Story. But that's Super Story, so you're stuck in story mode. You can't skip that part of the level. It is entirely pointless that you can skip that part of the level. I think its main function is just so you can go back to Yoda's house in story mode. Even though free play mode is filled with secret areas anyway. So you need to open up all of these things in order to get the mini kit around here. And now I decide I'm just going to go the waterway because it's much faster. Darth Vader, on the other hand, doesn't get the idea that he can switch between characters, and so he decides instead that he's going to do that entire platforming section. And I did hear him while recording this. I could hear him jumping on all of the switches to make the platforms appear. He does that entire section rather than just switching to R2, Q5 and then just going in the water. It's weird how some things have programming and others don't. You can just jump right up there and then switch to the astromech a lot faster. And I think this is where you can backtrack. I think. I'm not sure. But we can destroy that rock by ourselves now. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe that's a bit further ahead. I don't know. All I know is this tractor is absolutely pointless. So if you can get that tractor to go into the water, what will happen is it will play the explosion sound effect. Even though there's no explosion, the tractor simply disappears. It goes too far. It probably does explode, but it goes too far into the water before that happens. And then it just respawns again. Then he gets up here. And there we go. Now we can go in here. Into the Cave of Wonders. Ah, Cave of Wonders. Not that we can really do a lot in here. But, well, I should say, not that. We can do quite a lot in here. We can actually touch things in here. It's good thing the floor is not one of the things that you can't touch. Touch nothing, including the floor. Yeah, that is the laziest tiger in the world, though. I will sleep for all eternity. Do not wake me, unless you are the diamond in the rough. Whatever that means. What does that mean? The diamond in the rough. It just walks right off the edge. There's a few random things around here. This, for instance, there's no mini kit behind here. You can blow this up, but it's entirely pointless. There's only a few studs behind there as well. Like, that's it. Just 2 blue studs. Useful if you have the multiplier, but that's it. We need a short character for this. This one does have a mini kit. So you use your short character to crawl through there. How he's crawling through that and going upwards, I have no idea. And Ewok's catapult can't quite reach that. So you're going to have to switch to a blasting character. And Ewok's the only one that actually has a projectile weapon, because young Anakin and young Boba don't have any weapons at all. And then Jawa and Ugnaught both have a zapper, which is... It can stun a droid temporarily, but that's all it's used for. That's all it's used for, and it's only going to stun about 1 droid at a time. So other than being short, their zappers are completely useless. We now have a super zapper that will destroy the enemy. So that's useful. But that's literally all it's got going for it. And really, that astromech panel that I just used to get those other random studs, in LEGO Star Wars 2, that's a protocol droid panel. That has to be, amongst the various strange changes they made, that has to be the absolute most pointless change in the complete saga. Don't know why they did it. Thankfully, not all of these will fall down. I mean, if they did, you're stuffed. But you have got to be really quick, though, because they will start to fall down immediately. Not entirely immediately. They'll shake a bit and it gives you a clue as to which ones are going to fall down, but it's so fast you're not really going to notice. Now Vader's not going to... Vader can't see us, even though he's a Force user. He can't see us. The thing is, we know that a Yoda trained Obi-Wan in how, thanks to a... Well, do we ever work out how... We're never told how Qui-Gon was able to communicate with anybody after he died. We have no idea how he learnt to do that. But he was able to train Yoda, who then trained Obi-Wan, and then Anakin worked it out for himself. Again, I don't get it. But, you know, that's not just a problem for the... That's why how did Qui-Gon learn how to do that? And again, that's another area where they didn't think about it in the Clone Wars, because he already communicates with Obi-Wan in 1 episode of the Clone Wars. But in Revenge of the Sith, it's like Obi-Wan's learning this for the first time. And yet, Vader, this is where the enemy Vader's AI starts going a bit weird. So I'm just like, alright, I'll do this myself. And thankfully, Grievous counts as 2 hits. Though it still annoys me, though, that Grievous and Ventress especially, she does this a lot in the Clone Wars, they never take advantage of having an extra lightsaber. So they never take advantage of it. They always have to swing their lightsabers at the same time. They either do it at the same time, or... Well, I don't really know how to explain this, but it's like, a lot of the time, you know, they swing their lightsabers at each opponent will swing their lightsabers, 1 to attack and 1 to block. And then very often you see them just pushing each other's lightsabers. But Ventress never gets the idea that while that's happening, I should probably just swing my other lightsaber. I'm going to wait until I've pushed them away so that they can use their lightsaber again rather than just taking advantage of this. I could just swing my other lightsaber and it'll go right through them. Or, if they then try and deflect that, well, then I can just use the lightsaber I was using the first time round. And she never takes advantage of that. And Grievous doesn't do it either. And Grievous has no excuse, because he has freaking 4 of those things. In the Clone Wars, he never really uses the 4. I can only think... I haven't seen every episode of the Clone Wars. I sort of stopped watching it midway through Season 3. Or Season 4, whichever season it was. And... I can only think of maybe 2 episodes where I've seen Grievous use all 4 of his lightsabers. Which again, if the Clone Wars is apparently still canon, but Obi-Wan, he's already met Anakin in the Clone Wars, and I'm pretty sure he's already met Anakin in the Clone Wars, and he and Obi-Wan have met, which they make very clear that they haven't seen each other before in Revenge of the Sith. They've never fought each other before, but they have in the Clone Wars, which is apparently canon. And people say The Last Jedi has a lot of plot holes. It doesn't. It has about 3. I mean, granted, 1 is too many, but there's 3, and only one of them is actually a big problem. Why don't the First Order just go past the Rebel ships? I don't know that one. I can't explain that one is a problem. Why did Luke leave the map so he could be found? Change of mind? I'll go by that. I'll buy that. He changed his mind. There was another one, but I forget what that was. I don't count Leia breathing in space because we've seen that in every film. So that's about it. How does Rey know how to swim? Who cares? It's like the least important thing ever. The answer, you know, Lucy Lawless put it perfectly. A wizard did it. And since like half the characters in Star Wars are magical, there you go. Now, I mean, like in Star Wars 2, you can blow this thing up with a thermal detonator. Can't do that here. I don't know what I just blew up. And this is really weird because now I can't remember if I did this in story mode or not. I'd have to check the video again. But you just straight up build the astromech droid panel. I can't remember what I did in story mode, but I know in Lego Star Wars 2, that thing builds a motorbike, and then you need to bring that washing machine up, put the motorbike in the washing machine, blow up the washing machine, and then that makes the pieces for the panel. But no, we just straight up make the panel and we can blow up the washing machine. I'd have to check story mode again to see what happens. But that is a really weird change. And in Lego Star Wars 2, that is a really cheap hit you're going to get there. Because it doesn't go into a cutscene. The gate just explodes and you will get hurt by it. And if you're right next to it, like right where the panel is, you are immediately going to die from it. If you can get far enough away, it will damage you, and I think you're always guaranteed to go down to 1 heart, but it won't actually kill you unless you're on 1 heart. But otherwise, it is a cheap hit. And I don't like that. Again, if it does give you Dagobah Luke, you can still lift up the X-Wing. Be kind of unfair and unbeatable if you didn't. So anybody can lift up the X-Wing. Doesn't have to be Yoda. But anyway, next up we've got another double header because we've actually finished it this time. Yay! Don't know what will happen for the next part, but next up, Cloud City Trap and Betrayal over Bespin. So I will see you guys then.